Did you catch me moving from the camera? That was me.
Good morning, Matcha.
It's matcha morning time, and I made good use of my matcha way too quickly, and I could easily drink another one. We're here on a Saturday morning, not super early, and we're here to talk about whatever comes into our minds. My wife here, Raven, she's got a lovely smile on her face. Look at that. Her matcha is jiggling. That's a good morning. A good matcha morning is when the matcha is quivering.
Yes, indeed.
Anyways, we are here to talk about everything and anything. What do you have on your mind?
Well, it's been interesting, the number of doctors, epidemiologists, and so on arguing against the mainstream media dialogue about the COVID pandemic. I call it the pandemic. Others do.
I like the term.
Yeah.
It gets the point across.
Yeah.
Clean and crisp.
Yeah, and others who've also shown, like Dane Ashley, she shows that while all this has been going on, they've been rolling out 5G, they've been rolling out surveillance. Can we say surveillance? And that's really what they wanted to do, right? They want to get us all under. Well, they want to initiate Agenda 2020, which was the New World Order, right? That was supposed to be on time. And this is what it feels like, folks.
What surprises me, and I'm asking this to you guys, how is it possible, and I still am amazed, and I don't want to point fingers, but it does seem like a large majority of people, and this is who I interact with, whether it's emails or messaging or well, not word of mouth anymore, but generally speaking, if I mention a word about anything slightly controversial, questioning CV in any way, or post anything that in any way questions what to me seems to be so obvious, and maybe the truth is that when this thing all pans over, I'm completely wrong, and I was completely deluded, and everyone was right, and it was exactly the way it was portrayed, and social distancing is the absolute law, and anyone that even thinks the opposite of that should be charged, even for thinking of it. And I think people should just come out and own up that they thought these thoughts.
That's
and just
next.
Pay their fee, like donate it before they're even charged or something. I don't know. Just to clear their souls. Clear your souls before you die, so that you don't have a coronavirus troublemaker tag attached to it. God forbid. But seriously, folks, is it not starting to seem kind of obvious that something bullshit is going on? I'm not even going into details of specifics, but just that there's something bullshit going on here. It seems to me that slowly people are starting to wake up. That's how it's coming across to me. At first I felt very troublemakerish, and I was kind of very concerned about, I don't know, losing work or all kinds of things, because I might be looked at as the person who dared question or jeopardize our safety, and like words like vaccine can't be brought up. It's like absolute horrible, even the response you get for mentioning anything, and especially if I noticed, I started playing with it, but if you post something that is from a right source, not to be confused with the correct source, although quite often it seems to be right. Correct.
Sometimes.
But I noticed that I'd post something that was from a right perspective, and people would jump on it like, oh my God, Snopes, Did you know that's a da 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 da? And did you know there are people out there who are right?
And do you know
Oh
there's
my
fact
God.
checkers that are
And
full of
they
shit?
don't have cooties? Oh, and fact checkers like Snope, the Snopes of the Snopes. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit, and frankly, I just feel like people should get over their embarrassment now, and before, like, it's only a matter of days before you're going to be jumping on the other bandwagon, because you don't want to look like idiots, and then you're going to quickly run over the other side, go, no, I wasn't one of them that was questioning everything. Oh, no, I was just scared shitless, pooping my pants. Now I've changed my mind. I've come to my senses. So this is where we're at, is the now embarrassed waking up of the masses. And that's fine. That's fine. But number one, don't jump to a conclusion anymore. These are the things to have learned. Western medicine, big pharma, has to go back to school and different training, 100% across the board. And it's not to say that there aren't wonderful doctors, wonderful nurses, wonderful all those people, like people who work hard. And not to say there isn't a place for Western medicine. There is.
They gotta upgrade their training to be
But
more holistic.
way more. I mean, come on.
Come on.
Accept the fucking facts, folks. Western medicine with its big pharma bullshit, Big Brother, Bill Gates, all this shit has to go out the friggin' window.
Top down is no more.
Like, and the term conspiracy needs to be fucking erased from the English language. It got placed there like a friggin' growth. And people use it way too much because they don't even know what the fuck it means.
There'll be a badge of honor in the future.
Yeah, like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
What are the good changes that we can make in the world right away when this thing is over? Fucking fire Big Pharma. Fire Bill Gates, which I don't even know how he managed to convince the world that he has some kind of wisdom.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, come on. This has become
a master manipulator.
A comedy. This has become a comedy, and you guys who are watching this are part of that comedy, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And we've all done embarrassing things. Get over it. Let's just move forward, and let's also find out a system of how we can rate our scientists. You know, find out who's paying their fucking bills. Because no one seems to know who's a scientist to listen to and who's a scientist not to listen to. First of all, everyone will go, oh, I'm listening to the scientist. I'm not listening to the non-scientist. Then people started to realize, oh, there are so many scientists out there, and there's scientists and there's scientists. And then that started to become the thing. Well, now let's have right above board, you have to know who that idiot is over there in the lab coat. You know, who's sponsoring them, who's paying them, because we've gotten to a point where we treat Bill Gates like he's some master scientist, and then we realize he's not even a scientist at all. But yet, somehow he's in charge of their education. Now, figure that one out. How is that possible that some idiot, dipstick, is in charge of our lives? Think about that. And we're promoting him. And we're sticking up for him. Not we, the general we. You know, it's a royal we. We are in an absurd reality right now, and finally, most of us have woken up to the absurdity of it. It was a rude awakening, I must admit, a rude slap in the face. But now that we're awake, let's just fucking not fall back into the old paradigm again, please. Please.
Well, what's the new paradigm?
Well, it's opening up. How do we know? But I just set a bunch of guidelines for it. Get rid of assholes. Have some kind of a general guideline system for knowing who people are before they speak.
Yeah.
Before words come out of their ass.
Exfoliate. Exfoliate. Get rid of the dead cells.
Like, come on. This is ridiculous. What we're in the middle of. And one of the things that I noticed with all the people that I was contacting at the beginning was people that I thought were a certain way were completely different under fear. And I mean, I was really surprised. People that were kind of like, you don't want to make waves. Shut up, Dan. Shut up.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people look really big and fearless in the average world and have learned ways of navigating and, you know, finances and things like that, and quite successful. But when things get difficult, it's a different world out there. And one thing I noticed for sure is these are definitely ways to find out who's who, and better way to start picking what you align with and what you don't align with, because that's another thing. Old structures that we've used to gauge, old measurements, you know, right, left, Republican, Democrat, it's all out the window. Just throw it all out the window. It's bullshit. It's all categorizations to separate us so that we don't get together and find out our own brilliance and each other's brilliance. It's all a manufactured set of hall of mirrors that we've been living in, and now we've got to be willing to step out of those caves. You know, the whole Plato's cave thing. We were looking at shadows and reflections, and now it's time to directly let our eyes come in contact with the sun, with the light, and really realize what condition and situation we are in. And that takes courage. That takes courage to drop all the false confidences and securities that we had in the past, even though they are what held us back, and be willing to embrace something new. Like, look into yourselves and find courage, but real courage, not little external courages, but I mean real courage. Like, number one, fucking have the courage to speak about something, voice something, comment on something. You know, just start exercising a new you that's not afraid of, you know, we've already faced the possibilities of all kinds. We already know that we're on the doorstep of either self-destruct or being born into something miraculously, amazingly new. Why don't we just friggin' take the chance and go for the miraculously new, rather than the secure piece of shit world that some some controllers out there, and I'll tell you, they can be dropped so fast, and we have that control. Those that have ruled the world don't have to be ruling the world anymore. It's us who give them that control. So drop them. Drop these systems. It doesn't mean mayhem. It doesn't mean lack of government. It doesn't mean all those things you fear. It just means drop some of these structures that are holding us back. First thing is to recognize that there are such things and let go of these stupid labels we've been given to parrot out everywhere. Conspiracy theorists, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. I can't, sometimes I wake up and I think I'm in some kind of bad comedy or something, you know, made by some idiot, like half the shit out there that everyone listens to. You know, I'm sick of friggin' Hollywood. I'm sick of the whole California Hollywood machine that, you know, is producing stuff that we listen to and people that we worship, and it's not their fault, it's our fault. You know, the people we put on pedestals is absolute crap and bullshit. And also, if you look back through history, another thing that I think of is people that come up with great ideas are squashed, and people come up with sanctioned ideas that you know, come out of some certain institution, are the ones that are given special prizes and awards and things. Like, what the hell was that Obama thing when Obama first got into power and he was given a friggin' Nobel Prize? Everyone at first went, what? Like, that's the biggest faux pas in the world. Like, what a joke. What something obviously went wrong and they must correct it. and they don't correct it, and no one, including me, ever made a peep about it again. That's the kind of sheep we are. That's the kind of sheep we are. We let shit just go right by and go, oh, no one else noticed that big white elephant.
Or the bat on the back of the American quarter in 2020.
I think it's time that we start using 40% of our intelligence, maybe, instead of 20. There's no, like, we've been woken up. This was a wake up to this awareness. That's all it is waking up to that. There's many wake ups. But we have woken up to some truths that we could say we didn't know before. Now you can't say it anymore. The truth is out. So let's just move forward. Let's just move forward. Stop blaming each other for everything. But big time, big pharma needs to be dropped. Western medicine needs a overhaul, complete overhaul. We need to drop all of our definitions of parties and right and left and this and that and fucking grow up. You know, pull your socks up and freaking get on with things instead of crying about your little green mark on your knee or something from the grass. God, it's pathetic. It's pathetic, you know. And these are all aspects of myself that I'm talking about. I'm not pointing a finger anywhere. But I was born a bit of a radical and a bit of a shit disturber and an artist, whatever those credentials mean. One thing that's been consistent is I've always questioned things, whether it gets me into trouble or not. I've always tended to take the jump to the aid of the underdog. In public school, whenever there'd be someone who'd come in new from another country, I'd always befriend them and hang out with them, not because I felt like I was altruistic or anything. It's just what I did. Maybe because I was one myself and it was the only other person I could connect with, who knows. But I always came up with confrontations with alternative ways of thinking, somehow, some way or another. And I think it's healthy. And I don't think that there's anything wrong, especially, like, people should be noting whatever they believe in. They should be noting that if we're starting to be charged for freedom of speech, for just voicing something,
for sitting in a park,
for some of the people in the States, Michigan or something, oh no, that was Mississippi. A church service, they drove up in cars, so they were car length apart, at least 6 feet, intentionally. And 20 cops turned up in an area where there was plenty other things they could have done. Mm-hmm. Why are these things so prioritized? Why all of a sudden is every right you thought you had as a human being taken away? So to me, that means we never had the rights to begin with. Is that kind of accurate? If we thought we had rights until those rights were challenged and found out we didn't, therefore, did we have them ever? No, we had the illusion that we had certain rights. It's fake. So we either have to turn the tables and clean off that whole plate back to where we did have, or we reestablish some kind of agreement, or else buckle under and stick your ass in the air and wait for the vaccination, folks.
No thanks.
If that is what it is. Like, what?
No way.
You know, vaccinations, from what my research brings up, I forgot the term for it, but there was a direct inoculation thing where soldiers would be inoculated with an illness, like they purposely just got it. I forgot what it was called. It's sort of a pre-vaccination. It's what started off. Vaccinations grew from. But man, does anyone question the secrecy behind vaccinations and the upper echelon special qualifications, not necessary kind of rulings around vaccinations, the special vaccine courts and all these things? I don't know why everyone is so quick to point fingers and go, oh, conspiracy theory. I mean, there's extreme things that fit into some kind of category that you could call conspiracy theories, that are so tightly tangled and knotted up into such a, like, wow, to come up with that story, you must be quite an imaginative person. Okay, great. But that's a different thing than more generalized, intelligent perspectives on things. Like anything, any situation where a person gets up and says, hang on, this doesn't seem right. It seems like it's this way. Everyone jumps up and says conspiracy theory. And they say it in a way, I've been paying attention to this. When someone says, oh, that's a conspiracy theory, or oh, check Snopes, or oh, whatever, they say it in this tone of, you're stupid, but you're an artist, so I'll make excuses for you. But just for next time, check Snopes. Just that alone. Do you know what that's saying? That is saying, do not ever trust your own gut feeling. There is an app for that. Fuck off. Fuck off. That's bullshit. You're the one who's telling me to check Snopes is the one that should be checking their friggin' brain. Seriously. And I used to question myself. I used to be shaken by these things, ooh, yeah, maybe I should check Snopes, or someone would say, oh, are you into conspiracy theories, Damon? And I got so upset when a good friend said that to me. I was really hurt by it. And then it just came out more and more that everyone was saying this and everyone's thinking that. And I think to myself, I know what world I'm in. I'm not saying it's the greatest reality or the worst, the way I perceive reality, but I can't imagine the reality that seems a large percentage of people are in. The ones that are pointing and always saying conspiracy theorists and always saying check Snopes and always saying, oh, that's from the right. Oh, you don't want to listen to them. Oh, this is such and such. People must live permanently in that world. And that world is so closed off that I can't even imagine what it must be like. You must need a lot of drugs to break out of that fenced-in little spot, that box. And it must cause a lot of mental issues to be there, to be confined into that reality.
It's okay, you got Big Pharma for that.
Yeah, Big Pharma's got an answer for that.
There'll be a vaccine for mental illness coming up too.
And everyone will need that one, because if you don't already think you're mentally ill, then they'll figure out some new definitions for you as well. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. There's a pill for that. Yes. But anyways,
but only slightly.
This is the insane world we live in. And I don't know anymore. I thought I was amongst, I don't know what the right word is. I thought I was amongst people that once it boiled down to the depth of things, that they all agreed with me on a deeper humanitarian kind of level. But I'm not so sure anymore. Like, I don't know who I really deeply relate to anymore, or who I don't. Because there's some people that I thought were one way, and it seems to be they're the other, to a pleasant surprise. And then a large amount of people that I thought were pretty kind of groovy, cool, alternative minded, and they're quivering in their boots right now. Wow. Afraid to even be seen talking to someone like me, let alone considering a thought that I have. But more than that, there's a lot of people that are very righteous in their pointing their finger at me because I dare question. Oh my God, and especially if I was to fumble. Like a questioner, if you dare question, you better have that perfect, chiseled out question, because now it's like you're up in court, you're being tried, and you're lucky if it's a $5,000 fine. Maybe who knows what we'll come up with. Like, what is this shit? Like, I am just, I'm honestly calling out the world, including that within myself. Like, is this what we've been reduced to as these amazing species, humans, evolving and coming up with all kinds of cool gadgets and shit, and we've been reduced to a pile of fucking soggy toilet paper. That's where all that toilet paper went to. It's just feeding our soggy, hollow nothingness that we've become. The sheep that we've been modeled into. That I watch these things with my animals all the time in my research, and the difference between a factory farm genetically engineered chicken or sheep or pig compared to a landrace chicken or sheep, full of their original instincts and their survival abilities. I remember looking up landrace one time, and they said, for the dogs that we were researching, they said, well, it's like a landrace. They're not considered a breed in the case of animals. They're considered a landrace variant, because each area would have a different variant according to what they would choose. In this case, they're dogs or chickens. But landrace, it said, had a genetic vault, DNA-wise, that could be unlocked at any moment of need and be able to select from this genetic vault of just phenomenal options and variety for survival. We've been reduced down to this pile of putty that can't even lift its arm, to try and defend itself, out of like absolute fear. We've come to realize, if we haven't, those of us of the we that know who they are, haven't actually come to terms with their puttiness. Like, if we are all in a position where no one knows anything about this thing, and therefore we're at the mercy of Big Pharma, and we're willing to take anything they throw at us.
And a surveillance state.
And ignore the obvious surveillance elements that are coming in.
Censorship
everywhere. Like, if you are one of those people that are sitting in this reality right now and have not questioned this stuff, seriously, you got a big problem. And it's way bigger than any virus.
Yeah.
Major.
Yeah. It's soul killing.
It is, absolutely. So, do you want to live in an invisible prison? Do you want to become even less of yourselves than you are now? That's causing all the mental problems that you're feeling?
Do you want to be part of the Borg?
Do you want to be part of the Borg?
Because it's coming.
Like, do you even ask yourself why what we're talking about is even controversial, or should be? Why? About being awake is controversial? Like, woo. He said wake. Oh. Maybe we should look up the word wake. Maybe it's different than awake. But, yeah, so anyways, that's Raven and my tangent. Maybe for the first time, fully speaking our truth without being concerned about what anyone thinks of us. Because one thing for me I can say is I have shied away from speaking my truth most of my life, fully speaking my truth. And for sure, there's times where you don't. But there's so many things I've done where I have my thoughts and I kind of put out a few of them, and concerned that people think I'm a freako and, what the hell is he talking about and stuff, energy tattoos and, sculpting pumpkins, carving pumpkins, for warding off negativity and, all these crazy things that Damon does. But this whole event has really, I'm thankful because it has woken me up to the need for myself, and I think others as well, speak for myself, for me to come into my own and finally walk this friggin' earth being me, rather than quivering in my friggin' boots like I did when I was a kid with an abusive father. But there's no reason once that abusive father disappeared from the picture that I should have carried that with me, but I did. And I'll tell you, if there was an ounce of that left in me before this CV thing hit, it's gone now.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. I got to lose everything, hit the bottom, and then there's nothing else to lose, and you realize, wow, like, let's move up from here.
Fuck yeah.
You know, let's move up. And let's from now on, like, I'm promising that I'm only doing tattoos the way I do them. And I'm speaking my truth from now on. So anyone that wants work from me wants the depth of my work that I do. I'm no longer, you know, in any way going to prostitute myself out to the world, slightly disguising who I am or what I do to fit what someone else wants. I am me, and you get what you get. And I hope there's more of you out there that will be you, because that's when the world is going to be an amazing place, is when people start truly stepping into their own power and being themselves and expressing themselves. And that doesn't mean as in expressing yourself as in arguing or something, but I mean expressing yourself in what you do, your daily work, your energy, what you create. You know, don't waste your life creating something for someone else. If you have to do that for your job, come home and work on what is you. You know, how much healing could happen if we all just started, even if it was an hour a day, be our genuine selves and practice it, you know, and just gradually bring the whole world into a more genuine place. You know, it would be really, really good and really important, I think. So,
cheers.
Are we pretty well ringed out? Done. So, folks, I welcome comments. The little synopsis of what we talked about is basically let go of the old programming and be your true selves, and that may, in a nutshell, be the answer we're looking for, be the healing we're looking for, be the change that we're looking for. As simple as that. Just start being yourselves and come into your own power, and don't believe that you are a sheep that needs to be ruled over. That belief system is what's got us in this mess in the first place.
Yep.
And it's what is undoing that belief system is going to be what gets us out of this mess. It's that easy and that difficult.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.